Have you ever been so invisible in your own family that even your wedding wasn't allowed to be about you? Because that's exactly where this story begins. With my parents telling my fiancé that they would only pay for our wedding if my sister, the golden child, was allowed to walk down the aisle first in a wedding dress of her own. At my wedding. And if you've ever been overlooked, disrespected, or treated like you existed only to make someone else feel bigger, then stay with me until the end. Because this is one of those rare stories where patience beats cruelty and karma arrives right on schedule. So before I continue, take a second to like and subscribe, because stories like this don't just entertain, they heal people who were raised to stay quiet. And now let me explain how. A lifetime of favoritism led to the most satisfying moment of my life. I'm writing this from my honeymoon, sitting somewhere beautiful and calm. But what feels most peaceful isn't the view or the drinks. It's knowing that the people who spent my entire life diminishing me finally lost all control over me. Because ever since I can remember, my parents loved my sister more, not in subtle ways, not in debatable ways, but in loud, obvious, soul-crushing ways that teach a child very early that fairness doesn't exist. If my sister accused me of anything, my parents believed her instantly, punished me, and moved on. But if I accused her, even with proof, I was dramatic, lying, or overreacting. My birthday key was always her favorite flavor, while hers never had to consider me. Outings were chosen for her. Gifts were better for her. And anything meant to celebrate me somehow became about her. My sister grew up spoiled and cruel, using me as an emotional punching bag, and when we became teenagers, things got worse because she lost her friends while I had some. And suddenly I wasn't just invisible anymore, I was a threat. She accused my friends of being bad influences, accused me of things constantly, and my parents responded by isolating me, grounding me, banning me from going out, asking why I couldn't just be like my sister and enjoy family time, until one day I accidentally told extended family that I wasn't allowed to have friends because my sister didn't, which caused a blow-up that embarrassed my parents enough to slightly loosen their grip. But my sister never forgave me. She changed schools, got new friends, and punished me relentlessly after that. Her friends bullied me in my own home while my parents called it teasing. I learned to disappear, to stay quiet, to survive. Then I got my first boyfriend and didn't want him near my family, but my parents insisted. And predictably, my sister tried to flirt with him. And when he rejected her, she accused him of coming on to her. And my parents believed her. And that pattern repeated with every relationship I tried to have. Eventually, I stopped dating seriously because I couldn't handle being punished for someone else's lies. Rumors spread that I was easy because I avoided commitment, and my parents never even noticed. They were too busy celebrating my sister's mediocre grades while dismissing my good ones as expected. Then came college. My parents paid proudly for my sister's education. But when it was my turn, my mother calmly explained there was no money for me, that I should work. Instead, maybe wait until my sister graduated, and if I stayed home, I'd have to pay rent and bills. And when I mentioned loans, she said they'd decide whether I deserved that debt, and I didn't argue because I never expected help from them anyway. I had been planning my escape quietly for years, studying obsessively because college was my only way out. And when the time came, I earned a full scholarship and announced it publicly so they couldn't stop me without exposing themselves. College saved me. Distance gave me peace. And that's when I met my husband, a man who does not freeze when disrespected, who does not shrink, who responds immediately. And when we decided to get married, we didn't care much about the ceremony, but my parents demanded to meet him, and he went alone, excited even. And when he came back, he was almost laughing because instead of flirting or insults, my parents and sister made him an offer so outrageous it felt unreal. They'd pay for the wedding if my sister got to walk down the aisle first, in a wedding dress at my wedding, because it was apparently unfair for a younger sister to marry first. And when he told me, I felt sick, because even after everything, part of me still hoped they wouldn't go that far. But my husband smiled and said, "Let them." And instead of fighting, we played along. We pretended to agree. And for months, we let them believe they were manipulating me, while we were quietly letting them fund their own humiliation. Every decision became a setup. Menus, drinks, flowers, photographers. My husband would casually mention better options. My sister would demand upgrades. My parents would pay to keep her happy, thinking they were buying my silence. We kept everything verbal, nothing in writing, and by the time the wedding day arrived, they had paid far more than we ever planned to spend. And then the moment came, the venue filled. Guests arrived, music played, and my sister showed up in white, smiling, confident, ready to take what she thought was hers, and security stopped her. At first, she laughed, then argued, then screamed. My parents rushed over demanding answers, and my husband calmly said, "This is my wedding, and she's not invited." And the meltdown that followed was beautiful. Crying, shouting, accusations, guests staring, phones recording. And for the first time in my life, everyone saw it clearly. Not the golden child, not loving parents. Just people losing control because they couldn't rewrite reality anymore. And then I walked down the aisle, not second, not overshadowed, not quiet, but chosen, loved, and finally free. My sister never entered. My parents sat frozen in humiliation. They paid for everything and got nothing. And standing there, I realized something important. Revenge doesn't always mean destruction. Sometimes it means patience, boundaries, and letting people reveal exactly who they are. So if this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the forgotten child or the quiet one expected to endure, hit like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Because stories like this remind us that even the most overlooked people can take their power back. And sometimes the sweetest justice is simply living well in front of those who tried to erase you.